In this video, I'm going to show you how to navigate WebAssign. So when you first log on, you can go to cengage.com or to webassign.com and click the login button. And then it will take you into here. So this is the Cengage account. And so you can see here's our WebAssign course. So if I click on that, it's going to open this up. And right now I just have trial access. So once you pay for this, you won't see that annoying, your WebAssign trial expires soon, purchase now. That will disappear. So I'm just going to get rid of that for now. So WebAssign should look like this. I can get rid of that because I don't really need that sidebar. And this is where everything is for WebAssign. Now, just know that WebAssign is not linked to Canvas. So we have to kind of navigate both. Canvas is where you have all the grades, all the assignments and the modules and the lectures and the links to our live online meetings and all that. The only thing that we're doing on WebAssign is our problem sets and our exams. So to get navigate through WebAssign, one, you can see at the top here you have some different options here. You've got your home, you got your My Assignments tab, a Grades tab, Communication, and Calendar. The main things you're going to want here is just the home page and then sometimes the My Assignments. I would not pay a lot of attention to the Grades tab because the way the grades are set up on WebAssign is it's counting every assignment and grading them. And once they're past due, and if you didn't do it, it's a 0. Now remember, I'm giving you the highest score of your 3 attempts at any given problem set. WebAssign isn't able to calculate that for me because I've set them up to be completely separate assignments. So that's what you see down here. So if we see problem set 01, Introduction to Statistics, V1. This is the first version of the problem set for the Introduction to Statistics section. Then you see right below it, problem set 01, Introduction to Statistics, V2. This is version 2. And then you'll see a third version, problem set 01, Introduction to Statistics, version 3. When you do version 1, once you answer all the questions, you'll get a grade for it. If you're happy with that grade, you do not need to do version 2 or version 3. You can just leave those blank. You'll get zeros on them, but you'll have whatever grade you got on the first one, and that's what you'll be entered as your grade. If, however, you do version 1 and you're not happy with your grade, then you go in and do version 2. It's all the same questions and you have to complete the entire assignment again. But it's new numbers. So you should, from the first example, version 1, you should kind of know how to do it because it's also going to show you how to do the answer. It's going to show you the solution. So then you go into version 2 and you get your grade there. If you're not happy with that, then go to version 3. So that's why the grades link here is just going to be off. It's going to be a much lower grade than what it will be on Canvas because I'm only taking the highest score. So that's how this is going to work. So let me just walk you, first show you how to answer these. So if we go into the Intro to WebAssign assignment, this one is just a practice assignment. It is not anything that I'm going to enter as a grade. I just wanted to make sure everyone was able to get into WebAssign and can kind of play around on it without any punishment. So what you'll see when you get into it, you'll see indication up here of how many questions there are. Well, just think of questions as sections actually. And so each of those sections might have different number of points, and that might be because there's a certain number of sub-questions in there, or just a different number of answers that you got to plug in. So there's 6 total points for this particular homework. There's a couple other things just to note. There's a print assignment button here. Not a bad idea sometimes to print it and do it by hand. For this one, I don't think it's necessary, but sometimes once we get to those math questions, it's helpful for a lot of people to have it on paper pencil. Another option is a request extension. So this is due at a certain time. It is not due yet, and so I can't request an extension. If I click on this, it's going to say, this is not past due essentially. So when I do the automatic, it's like tell me it's only available for past due assignments. But manual, I could put that in and it would actually request that. But I want to point out the difference between the manual and the automatic extension. first, let's start with the automatic. The automatic is something you can do on your own. It is an automatic extension. So if you missed the due date for a WebAssign problem set, you can then request an automatic extension by yourself. When an assignment is past due, you'll see some information you can enter here. And basically it will tell you, it's essentially telling you the rules. And the rules will be, you're going to lose half of your points, and you'll have 2 more weeks to do it from the point at which you ask for that automatic extension. So that's the way we do this with late assignments. So late problem sets, you only get half of the points. And the point is I want you to keep up with the homework. Getting behind on it is not a good idea in this class, especially because it's an 8-week class. So I really want to punish that enough to prevent people from doing it. But sometimes stuff happens, and so if you have it is late, then go ahead and request the automatic extension. At least you get half the points. The manual extension, on the other hand, is for those situations where you have a documented excuse for why you missed the assignment. So in here, you would ask, hey, I want this extended to be due this date, and then tell me why. And in that, you would probably include like, oh yeah, remember, Dr. Haas, I sent you the doctor's note because I was sick and I wasn't able to do it. And so then I can extend it. And what this does is this sends me an email, and then I can review your documentation and then give you an extension without any penalty. So the manual is for extensions without penalty. The automatic is one where there's going to be a 50% penalty, and you can just do that one on your own. I never get involved. As soon as you click OK, the assignment is extended for you. Okay, so that was under request extensions. Now, once we go scroll down here, we can now see the questions in this problem set. So the first thing we see is here's our first question. This little header here is the indication that we're in a section. And this section happens to have 3 questions. And so we can answer them. So this is a little bit of stuff where it's just asking you some stuff that that might be on the syllabus and other things. And so what percentage is deducted for late problem sets? Okay, so late problem sets is a 50% off deduction. Okay, now notice that under this section here, and it just highlighted it and said, hey, you have some work that you've entered, it saved it for me. So this means if I were to quit out of WebAssign right now, open it back up, it would save that I was thinking this was the answer. But I haven't submitted that answer yet. So you'll know when you submit it because it will be graded. So I'm going to do that right now. One of the nice things about WebAssign is I can click Submit Answer without answering everything, and it will just grade the one question. So I click Submit Answer, and it's going to tell me, did I get it right or wrong? And so when I get it right, it'll be a green check mark. So I got that one right. Okay, but it hasn't graded these yet because I haven't answered them. So these are select all that apply. Let me just put a couple answers in here just randomly and see how I do. Okay, so it answered both of them, and I got this one right just by luck, and then I happen to get this one wrong. So when it's wrong, it shows you which the right answers were. That's where those little green key mark boxes are, and this is the part I got wrong. Okay, so you'll notice that of these 3 questions, I've gotten 2 out of 3 points. And so I can go up here and you'll notice that it's now for question 1, I got 2 out of 3 points. Now, once you've answered all the questions within the section, this solution will show up. Now, when we get to the math questions, this solution is going to be very detailed. It's going to be walking you through how to answer the questions mathematically and all this stuff. And so definitely pay attention to those. And that's one of the beauties of WebAssign is it gives you immediate feedback. Did you get it right or wrong? And how should you have done it? And maybe then you can figure out where you went wrong. Okay, so that was the first question. Second question happens to only be one question, and it's a matching. And so I'm just going to randomly pick some letters here. Let's see how I do. And I'm going to submit the answer. Okay, I got that wrong. Now that one doesn't have a solution, so nothing showed up, but I've got 0 out of 1 point. So you can see up here, there's now a 0 out of 1. So right now I'm at 2 out of 4 total, but there's still 2 more points. So if I got zeros on those, I'd only be at 33%. So now I scroll down to the last one. And this is where we can see one of the beauties of WebAssign, or at least another beauty, is this is a math question. So it says, when performing statistical calculations, you will often get answers with many decimals. When submitting your answer, round up to the appropriate number of decimals requested. So what's 85 divided by 21? And we're going to round that to 3 decimals. So I'm going to guess here 4.555. All right. Now, I haven't answered the second one, but I'm going to ask it to grade this one. So I submit answer. And I got it wrong. I was close. It's 4.048. Now, again, immediate feedback, right or wrong, and then tells you the solution. Now, what's nice with this is that the second question here happens to be the same question, but now it's rounding to 2 decimals. So I can take this one and use that to figure out my second answer. So because it's 4.048, 4.04, and then because 8 is higher than 5, that means I round up the 4 to a 5, and it should be 4.05. And I grade it, and I got it right. Now again, once I've answered everything within the question, it shows me the solution. So it's telling me how to do rounding. So if you're not comfortable with rounding, definitely practice these ones. Now, here's the thing that's so great about WebAssign. These numbers, 85 and 21, were randomly generated. So every person who does this will get a different set of 2 numbers. But what this allows me to do is to have multiple versions of the same question. So I'll show you in a little bit when we show you the different versions of problem set 1, is that it's the same questions but just with different numbers. And so what this then allows me to do is allows me to provide you as students with more practice. And what you're going to see with statistics is the more practice you can get, the much better your performance is going to be. So here's where it's really cool in terms of practice. In this question, I could practice this question again, just for fun. It's not going to change my grade. I've already gotten 1 out of 2 points, and you'll notice that my final grade here is 3 out of 6. I got 2 out of 3 on the first question, 0 out of 1 on the second question, and 1 out of the 2 questions on the third part. So I'm at a 50%. That's my grade. I can't change that at this point, but if I want, I can practice this question. This is bothering me that I didn't get this right. I can practice it. Now, I can click anywhere on this question, either up in the question area or down here in the solution area. So I'm going to click down in the solution area. I clicked, and suddenly the submit answer button appeared. Now, I've already got that. So I submit that answer, and we're done. Oh, there it is. I was looking for the practice another. They moved where the practice another button goes, and it's up here in the right-hand corner. So once you've answered a question, you can practice another. Now notice this one doesn't have a practice another button, nor does this one. And that's because there's nothing randomly generated about these questions. But when a question has randomly generated parts, sometimes you're going to know it because there might be red numbers. Other times you're just not going to know it until you see this practice another button. But if I click the practice another button, here's what's going to happen. It's going to give me the exact same question, but with a new set of 2 numbers, not 85 and 21, but a new set of numbers. So I click practice another, and here I get another question. It's the same question, notice, as before, and I can still see the solution, which is nice. Now, this is a new way that WebAssign has been formatted, but now it's 88 and 49, not 85 and 21. So now I can practice my numbers. Now I'm just going to put some random numbers in here, oops, and check my score. Okay, now, first off, it tells me I got it wrong. That's just to check the score, but once I've done that, I can say, well, what was the answer? And then it adds that part, and then I can also say, show the solution. And again, it will put this whole explanation that we had, same one for our original question. It will have the same explanation, but with our new numbers. And then again, if I want to practice it again, here's try another. I click that, it's going to do the same thing again. So that's what I think is one of the beauties of WebAssign, is your ability when there's something that you're struggling with, you can keep practicing it, using the solution and trying to figure out where things are going wrong so that you can eventually learn the information. Now, one other thing to know with this practice assignment is that we've answered everything. Our grade is already set. Now you'll notice down here at the bottom it says submit assignment. I could click on that now. It's not going to do anything more. Everything's already been graded because I did it by question, or when I did those submit answer buttons. So if you just do it one at a time and keep clicking submit answer, which is kind of how I'd recommend it, you'll find you never really have to submit the assignment. But if you end up not entering any of the answers and then you accidentally click submit assignment, it's going to enter those as no answer and you'll get 0 points on them. So that's where I just sort of avoid this and just use the submit answer button as you're going along. Save assignment progress just means that, as you've gone through, whatever you've entered as an answer or even submitted as an answer will be saved, and you can quit out, come back to it before it's due, and still keep working on it. So at this point, I want to close out, but I'm just going to click submit assignment, and it'll just be done. And whoops, no, it just actually doesn't. So now I just need to back out of it. So it submitted it, but again, nothing changed. It's 3 out of 6. So I can go back to home, and it's showing, again, the list of assignments. The other thing I could do is I could go to My Assignments, because you'll notice there was no grade for that one. But that's where if you go to My Assignments tab, it shows your grade for that problem set. So this was that Intro to WebAssign. I got a 3 out of 6. So the last thing I want to show you, besides the fact that sometimes after an assignment is due and you want to go back and get an extension on it, it will often appear, you have to scroll down to the bottom or find this link here that says past assignments. So any assignments that are past due will show up there. And we happen to have no past assignments right now, so they're not going to show up. But that's where you would be able to go into any of your past assignments and look them over. And again, with those practice and others, I can go back into that assignment that I just did. Remember, I've already answered it. So let's say this was something I completed and was due last week. Well, I want to practice this part here. I can still go in here and keep practicing more and more. So I can do that into infinity. So again, WebAssign's really nice that way. So let me just show you the other thing that often trips up students, which is just simply the fact that there are 3 versions of each problem set. And again, I give you the highest grade. So let me open up problem set 1, version 1. There are 5 questions and then a bunch of sub-questions under each one. And so here are those questions. There's the 2 questions under part 1. Here's, looks like 3 questions under part 2. Here's a matching under part 3. Here's another matching under part 4. And here's some calculations under part 5, right? So just I want you to take a quick look at this question or this problem set and notice how it's set up. And then I'm going to back out and I'm going to go to the next version of it. It's the same thing, same questions, just a few things different maybe in the questions, but it's the same 5 sections with the same sub-questions under them. So what you have to do is you have to complete the whole thing to get a grade on it. So ultimately, you should end up having, if you do all 3 versions, you should have a grade for all 3 of these. And I, again, will take the highest of the 3. The highest of the 3 will be the grade I'll enter on Canvas. I don't do it automatically and I don't do it right away because I have to do it manually. So once you know you've done it, you can always go back and say, okay, well, which one was the highest grade? And so that's how this is going to work, that you have to do all 3 of them. It's not that once you're in a question, you get 3 shots at any given question. So you don't get 3 shots to answer this or 3 shots to answer this whole thing. You get 1 shot per assignment, but you get 3 shots at the whole assignment. Okay, so that's WebAssign, and then eventually you're going to see that when we start doing exams on here, it's the same setup, so that way you're comfortable with it. It's the same as the problem sets. The only difference is that the exams will be timed. So you'll be able to do all the same kind of stuff. So by the time we have the exams, you should be really comfortable on WebAssign, and then it gives you immediately feedback on most of the parts of the exam, and then there's some parts that I have to go in and grade once I get a chance to look at your work. All right, so that's how to use WebAssign. Thanks.